Information Technology and Subcommittee on Government Operations will come to order. Without objection, the presiding member is authorized to declare recess at any time. Good morning. Welcome to today's joint hearing on the 7th FITARA Scorecard. In the 4 years I've been fortunate enough to serve as chairman of the IT Subcommittee, we've held 40 hearings on a wide variety of technology, privacy, and cybersecurity issues. In one of the subcommittee's first hearings back in 2015, seems like a long time ago, we examined encryption technology and potential U.S. policy responses. This is an issue that's still with us today. We investigated the devastating OPM data breach, an early example of what would become a familiar story. Legacy IT and poor cybersecurity practices being exploited by hackers with devastating consequences. Again and again, we've heard this story, most recently with the Equifax data breach, one of the most harmful in U.S. history. More than half the American people were touched by that. It's just unbelievable how staggering that was. This subcommittee examined electronic health records, interoperability at the DoD and VA, and pushed the departments to finally adopt the same system. Novel idea. We held hearings on issues as varied as the Internet of Things, federal political advertisement laws and regulations, and cybersecurity of voting machines. All of these hearings and issues are important, and I'm proud of the positive results that follow. But the issue that has commanded the most time and attention by far from this subcommittee during my tenure has been federal IT acquisition and management. This is the 7th time the Information Technology and Government Operations subcommittees have assembled to review agency FITARA scorecards. Beginning in 2015, committee staff worked on a bipartisan basis with GAO to develop a scorecard to assess agencies' FITARA implementation, these efforts. FITARA Scorecard 7.0 shows improvement across the federal government since the prior scorecard in May of 2018. 11 agencies increased their letter grade, 13 remained the same, and there were no decreases. I think this is the first time. One of the key areas the committee has emphasized in FITARA implementation is CIO authority. In particular, the reporting chain for the agency CIO. 8 agencies continue to have an indirect reporting structure and received an entire letter grade reduction on Scorecard 7.0. This is simple. A dotted line is not enough. There needs to be real reporting to the deputy or the agency head to show that that organization understands the importance of cybersecurity. Agency CIO should report directly to the agency head or deputy, period, end of story. No excuses. No excuses, and that's why we're bringing those grades down. Today's hearing features IT leaders from the Department of Health and Human Services. HHS is the largest federal civilian agency with an annual operating budget of over $1 trillion. The agency's IT spending exceeded $5 billion per year in fiscal years 2017 and 2018. HHS started at the low end of the FITARA scorecard, earning a D or D- for the last 5 scorecards. And to improve its stagnant grades after Scorecard 5.0 was released, HHS instituted an initiative called A by May to strengthen its implementation of FITARA. Partially as a result of this initiative, the scorecard on the FITARA 7.0 scorecard, HHS has received a B+. I think that's pretty good. It's pretty good, hitting the objective. These improvements by HHS are an example of how the FITARA scorecard positively incentivizes agencies to act. The intent of the scorecard, as my colleagues and original co-author of FITARA, Mr. Connolly, has pointed out, is not to paint agencies with a scarlet letter. Rather, our intent is to incentivize behaviors and actions that result in better managed and more secure IT resources. HHS still has some work to do, as do all federal agencies, and we will get into some of that with GAO's assistance at today's hearing. But there are lessons that can be learned from what y'all have done, what HHS has done, for others to examine and possibly pursue. As has been the case over the last 4 years, I'm proud to be joined at this hearing by my friends and colleagues, Robin Kelly, Mark Meadows, and the gentleman from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Mr. Connolly. I also want to thank GAO for all your work on the FITARA scorecard over the years. You are a force for transparency and accountability, and we cannot do our constitutional task of oversight without them. I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but I think GAO is one of my favorite departments and agencies in the federal government because of what y'all do. Your work is invaluable to the work of this committee, and I want to thank you. And I want to thank our witnesses for being here today. And now it's a pleasure, as always, to recognize my friend, my partner in crime, the ranking member of the Information Technology Subcommittee, Ms. Robin Kelly, who I have